last video, we were talking about solving a quadratic equation using factorization. Now we are going to see an example how we solve quadratic equation using the method of completing the square, which is our topic of focus today. So by solving this quadratic equation, x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals 0 by completing the square. By completing the square. Yeah, the method of completing the square is quite interesting in mathematics, especially for quadratic equations. It's an easy and simple method of solving quadratic equation, and we have some few conditional steps which will describe why solving an equation of quadratic. So the steps involved in solving quadratic by completing the square. First, we transfer the constant term. Secondly, we make sure the coefficient of x squared is 1. Thirdly, we add half the square of the coefficient of x on both sides of the equation. So these are the key steps why solving quadratic equation by completing the square. So let's apply our steps. Now our equation is x squared plus 5x plus 6 equals to 0. Now if you look, our coefficient of x there is 1, and the coefficient of x is 5, and the constant term is 6. Like it said in our first condition, we transfer the constant term of the equation. We are going to transfer the constant term of the equation to the right hand side. So we are going to have x squared plus 5x equals to minus 6. Now we try to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is 1. If you look, our coefficient is 1. Then we can move now to the next part. We state that we are going to add half the square of the coefficient of x on both sides of the equation. Now our x have a coefficient of 5x. That means 5 divided by 2 is the half of 5. So we are going to add half the square of this term of x on both sides of the equation. So we are simply going to have x squared plus 5 on 2 all that squared equals to minus 6 plus 5 on 2 all that squared. Now applying our principles of completing the square, we are going to have x squared plus 5x, which gives us 25 on 4, which is equals to minus 6 plus 25 on 4. Simplifying it keenly, we are going to have x plus 5 on 2 equals 1 on x to the power x equals to minus 6 plus 25 on 4. When we expand this bracket, we are still going to have x squared plus 5x plus 25 on 4. Now, we are going to simplify our terms on the right hand side. Simplifying the terms on the right hand side, we are simply going to look for our LCM, which is 4. So we are simply going to have 4 times 6 will give us minus 24 plus 25 on 4. So we simply have x plus 5 on 2 all that squared equals to 1 on 4. Now, squaring both sides of the equation in order to make x the subject of the equation, we are simply going to have x plus 5 on 2 equals to plus or minus the square root of 1 on 4. So we are simply going to have x plus 5 on 2 equals to plus or minus a half. Now x is going to have two values, like I said. For a quadratic equation which the highest power is 2, x must have two values. Now we are going to take the first condition for x equals to plus or minus half minus 5 on 2. That means first value of x is going to be x equals to half minus 5 on 2, which will give us minus 2, and second value of x, which will give us minus half minus 5 on 2, which will simply give us minus 3. That makes our x should be equals to minus 2 and minus 3. Like I said in the other video, x must have two values. So don't fail to subscribe to Conic Solution for more information.